I'm going to read one poem from each of my 3 BlazeVOX books. The first book is The Edge of the Underworld. The seal wore out. Technically, the value drained away when the image of the lion and lamb blurred. No piece of paper in a trembling hand patches up differences by the water anymore, only appeals to tradition and force. Droplets of water build up to the left of the line, reminiscent of a healthy sweat, but hardly telltale. The salty smell lifts our spirits out of the frazzled state that may be in our best interests today. All those years, we spoke admiringly of muscles and furs and indefatigability. Now we walk up and down carping until the keepers and repairmen appear, and the cycle begins all over again. The second BlazeVOX book is Window on the City. And I'm going to read a slightly long poem called Two, T-O, Two. To falsify the long-lasting incarceration of everything we can't answer quickly and honestly, to cast an aspersion on windy suits and rickety sticks, to stymie the sleepy superstitions of injured outcasts, to paste a paradox on personal predicaments and smell and aftermath, to snore through houses and houses, toweling the snitch and pores of the friendly applications, to squeeze the sour sluices from half, always half, of the sample tantalizer, to slake the lace around the hearth and quieter meals of the intrepid, indelicate, to snake boasts, to breeze the moping latitudes for time and room to blunder away the handful of free bandanas, still halitosis free, to debate the meritocracy of occupancy in the red glare of stool pigeons' exits, into unknown hairdos and soulful twos, to chirp, to whoopee, to incite lice, to pause in the maelstrom for grapefruit, Scarsdale approved, to weigh the gray with an eye toward release and epipheliums of a between-seasons variety, to overlook the late-lamented birthday sniffles, to peep through layers of homesickness and safe solutions to the rope-a-dope, to snaz napes of their downer longings this year more than fast harps, to drape the bulky blasting caps in a labor of blots and rhyming negatives, to boot the houses from the tables of just birds, sailing through the hells of songs and gnats, to relieve, to saute hamsters and onions, to turn off the phones of estates that weigh precisely on the liver, a forgotten duck, indicated only on the 13th draft of the blueprint for the wards, to visit the one-time sometime, hate miraculously metamorphosing back into the impure love from which it sprung, Minerva-like, one January night of shattered soapboxes and doors nailed shut, to pass through smoke rings in the still afternoon air, to invade the sayings with the heat of late races, to brief mustaches and houses on the pronouncements of an unjust fate, doled out in twos and threes on the slide, of course, for rich flimflams and soups constructed of every color in the alphabet, plastic booze and Samlung pontoons, to perforate with an eye toward dampening the selection of huts and ironwood tripods and live coals for no modern-day lips to kiss in their zealous disillusionment, to taste the limits of ups, to crave the perfection intrinsic to the yeast of Thanksgivings past, present, and to come, to inflame the yearning for an aftermath to teeth, to hold off noon, to seem to ignore my new name screamed through the halls without hope, to regroup in sudden silence. Daily, daily, she once said, daily, daily, never forgotten, to grasp the rest of the unwitnessed, thousands of miles away from the funnel and the clouds, the mistake that soon ceased to matter in the big picture above the soccer game in Southern Alps, and entire future of thugs and games watched together at night for years before the fatal embolism, then alone, to hold off noon no longer, to do. And my third BlazeVOX book is Compulsive Words, and I'm going to read the first poem from that book, which is called Dread. Dread. Dread said lead masking to loosen very regular method for operating on salmon houses of discomfort. Dread presses home legs. Dread dresses in the sauce and icing of forests. Dread says hazards forecast abuse to amplify the forests of pain and deliverance. Dread dreads onlookers auction through perverse sanctions and flabbergasting lassitude. Dread felt plus. Dread levitates hazards. Dread felt left in the rain of sight. Dread possesses 11 fragments, situations, abuses. Dread presses home math. Dread breasts the left immigration. Dread blesses the forecast for felicity and altercation. Dread presages one of the 11 calamities. Dread is the 5th calamity. Dread blesses our efforts to avoid its sting. Dread persecutes the prosperous lamp. Dread resuscitates all portion proper. Amplitude softens 11 left method dances. Dread presses houses to fasten their shutters to stars exploding in soda faces. Fishes pleasant to methods and fasteners practiced at positive exposure. Hell-bent president defeated in ire positive lather. Dread leavens hesitant practice method. Forecast soup talk explosion machine tuba. Dread grows blue in the gills and sleeps in horoscopes. Dread takes lessons from stoves, so cuckoo and leaves. Dread lessens presence of penance. Dread emulates hesitant leftovers, alone in loud cathedrals to dash our mask. Dread elevates some nuisance to the lice of form, fractures false as sandwich operations. Dread effluent susses fragrant baseball. Dread so beguiles the loose lozenge of mercury, so fascinates the prize for embarrassment. Dread positions in navigation. Dread ramifies colors of the rainbow, flex and say someday. Dread positions hard. Dread hards. Dread devils 7 lessons to complete the rainbow. Dread pleasures method juice. Dread ambushes the tense leaven fresh from houses of saints, on leave from open passages to oily methods. Dread excises 5 open hostage renewals, renews the 7 fed presidents. Dread positions leavens. Dread methods, hesitant positions, positive chop suey. Dread chooses obsolete games to evaluate its toys and practical sausage explanations. Leavens the residents. Dread presides from a position of maximum adoration. Dread cessates latent pragmatism and pampers lessons, right amity. Dread dreads to presage leaven. Dread emulates. Dread regulates the heights of reason to season leaven. Dread remedies neither hope nor far-fetched lessons, invigorates spoonfuls of purple levitation. Dread emigrates to sauna faucets, new remedies. Dread likens past to past, pregnant and proper for Tabasco. Dread registers without eating and levitates in sitting room pragmatism. Dread heads. Dread pressures feathers to power 11 engines. Dread sevens. Dread heaven. Dread 7th sightseeing. Dread to eat. Dread. Thanks.